Okay, so I have here a Dell Inspiron 7520. I don't know if you can see that. And it makes a buzzing sound whenever you flip it onto the side. So if you go like that, it'll start making a buzzing sound. In full disclosure, I have taken this thing apart before, but I wanted to take it apart again just to see if there was anything in the fan itself. As you can see, there was a sticker on this at one point. What's really cool is that if we were able to find it, this top piece can actually just be replaceable, and it would use a switch design studio. I don't know if that's still available brand new. We might have to look on eBay for that, but that's at least, that would fix that problem, along with probably Goo Gone or even some like Windex. But let's go ahead and just start taking this apart. So to start with, we're gonna flip it over and take out the battery. This particular computer has been well used. I gave it to my family to use as a school computer, and it looks like they dropped it a couple of times. Looks like I will need probably this guy. So this is what, a J0? And that should get us all the way. But yeah, so we are missing a couple of screws. These ones these ones stay where they're at, so it's really hard for them. It's really hard to lose them. But just from an initial look, we are missing this screw. Actually, that's about it. So we'll take out our Blu-ray drive, because yes, this is a Blu-ray drive. And if we just pop that out, so like I said, this has been well used, well loved. The side of this is coming off and doesn't give a bunch of good grab. Got a hard drive in here. It's a terabyte 5400. I just put it in there the other day. And then I've got 2 sticks of 4 gigabyte DDR3 SODIMM RAM. Nothing amazing, but enough to get some work done. And with that, we can start taking apart the rest of the system. So we've got one here, over here. We've got one down here. That one's missing, but usually one there. And one here. And then to top it all off, we've got a screw here. And a screw here. Just remembered that we have to flip this around because there's more under the keyboard. And actually, yes, I am going to need... So usually I would have a spudger. But I think... I'm not sure where my spudger went to, so I'm just going to use a flathead screwdriver. And we're going to be very, very careful. But basically what we want to do is we just want to flip this up because there are some tabs. There's a tab here, a tab here, a tab here, and a tab here. And basically what we just want to do is we want to flip it forward so that it doesn't hit the tab. And then I think this one is broken or something. So as we flip this around, we've got this, which it says it's printed up. And if we flip that up, we can bring that apart. And that's for the keyboard itself. And then we've got this one for the backlight. And we'll just flip up this black tab here and take it out. And we've got that. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws that we need to take out. But anyway, so if you're looking at a laptop or a desktop or whatever, and it says that it's got a terabyte hard drive, that does not mean that it is better than a 500 gigabyte hard drive. It just means that it has more space. What you're actually looking for is the Intel I series of processors. That also includes Celeron and Pentium, though those are usually the lowest of the low. And then the generation. And the generation can be seen from the first two numbers of whatever is afterwards. So, I mean, my example is going to be a couple years old. But the i7 7700 was the 7th generation. We are now on the, I think it's the 12th generation of the Intel series. But that's going to be after that first little moniker. So in this case, this says Core i7, and then it's probably going to be a i7 5700 or something like that, which indicates that it's a 5th gen i7. While I'm here, I'm just going to flip these out. So this one's going to be up and then back, up and then back, and up and then back. And we'll go over these here in just a few minutes once I actually get the thing off. And then we just pull this a little bit. So pull this back, pull this back. This one I believe is display. But we'll see that here in a minute. And then apparently I set my J0 down and I don't know where I put it. Okay, so now I'm going to go through and I'm going to pop up the area between the palm rest and the bottom of the case. And this is going to be really easy for me because I've done this a few times, and so some of those tabs have broken off. It does usually have to be popped a little bit. And sometimes it does feel like you're going to break it. There will be casualties. There's no way around that. But we do the best we can. And it feels like maybe we're missing a screw. Let's flip this, oops. Flip this around. Yes, okay, so we are missing, so 1, 2, 3, 4 screws down here. I'm gonna set this down. Close this. And we'll use this one. And I wish I could find out where my J0 went. Right here I'm using a J00. I feel like I put it in my pocket. I was like, I'm gonna need this for later. Nope. So missing that screw. And then also another big thing if you're new to computers is RAM. Windows, at least Windows 10, is not going to run very well if you have 4 gigabytes of RAM. It's usually shown as 4 GB, But usually I would say 4 gigabytes is the absolute minimum you can have, and that's if you don't do anything. That would be if all you do is you write essays or whatever. Okay, so as we open this up, I've got, I don't know if you can see that, but this ribbon cable. So I'm gonna flip that up and out. So I'm going to set that to the side. This computer could probably be dusted out, but we'll do that at a different time. So then, it looks like in order to get this fan out, we're going to have to take out the main board here. So that's super fun. So to take out this main board, it looks like we've got 1 screw, 2 screws, 3 screws, 4 screws, 5, 6, 7 screws. So I will get to work on that. I still wish I could find where I put that. I put that J0. Where did you go? Okay. So we'll put you here. You here. And then I know everyone is different, but I like to put these in a specific location that kind of reminds me of where I kind of put them or where I got them from. Everybody has different ways of doing it, and I actually really enjoy the way of, well, if you take it out, put it back into the empty screw hole. That's a really good system for the most part, but it doesn't always work. Let's see, we're going to have to take out this power plug. Okay, just walked it back there. Take this guy out. And you can tell this is a business class because it has the easily removable power plug. Just wanting to prove me wrong, huh? Okay, so we'll try this. Sometimes it works. Yep, there we go. We're getting that. Okay, that's going to be for the power plug. And that should be all we need. So if we lift up in the back here, yep, that just pops out. We're gonna move that just a little bit. This should be able to, oh, we've got a second one here. We're just gonna take this entire one out. Okay, power plug. And then we're just going to lift here. Okay, so now it's a little top heavy, so we'll put it back like this. What's really nice is we can replace the processor in this unit. And then also if we look here, looks like it's not making any noise, so I'm betting that was the rattle. I think I'm also going to replace the thermal paste while I'm in here. Okay, I'm back. I've got this can of compressed air and some thermal paste that I just happen to have. That's not thermal paste. So my wife fosters kittens and stuff, and so I think that's just sugar water or something, so that the kittens don't die of lack of sugar and water and stuff. So I really kind of wish I had... This will probably run amazing once we're done here. Anyway, so I wish that I had something like I bought for myself at work. I mean, technically I do own it because I bought it and I took it to work. But I wish that I had brought it home, because basically it costs the same as a 12-pack of one of these, but it lasts forever, and it works so much better too. Okay, so we're gonna put this guy back in, and we're just gonna basically do the exact opposite of what we did. It's not gonna be super pretty, but it'll work, and it'll be fine. So we've got our silver ones here, another silver one here, one of the not silver ones here, and I guess we'll take it apart some other time. Actually, it may not even need new thermal paste. It was running pretty fine. It was just that it was making that awful racket, just like the kids these days. I say as a kid these days. Okay, so we'll plug our speakers in. So we found out that this machine not only has an i7, but it also has an AMD graphics chip in it, and so it can run games pretty good. Like not amazing, but for a laptop, it's not bad. I mean, obviously it's a business class laptop, so it's meant more for like art or 3D rendering, but it's still good enough for government work. For government gaming, maybe? Someone's in trouble. Okay, so we're gonna put this guy back in, and he's gotta go a specific way. Also looks like one of the sides broke off. We'll do this. So luckily the hinges aren't super broken on this guy, so that's actually really nice. I think this is actually like metal, or maybe it's just a really hard plastic. But yeah, those are usually the first to break. And then we've just got, I don't know what's going on there. But we'll connect this up to make sure we can actually charge. That actually reminds me, so a friend of mine gave me an old laptop of his. He was like, man, I don't use this anymore. Here's this laptop. Do with it whatever you want. See what you can do with it. Maybe you'll get more enjoyment out of it than me. I just basically would go on Facebook with it, and that's it. I was like, okay. So this thing was a bottom of the barrel Asus computer with 4 gigs of RAM and an old AMD like quad core or I think it was dual core actually. So I did the best I could. I'm kind of a Linux geek, so I threw like a really lightweight Linux distribution on it, and it was still super slow. Wondered, maybe I could put like new thermal paste and maybe, just maybe, another gig of RAM, or another stick of RAM even. Popped it open. I think I could put an extra stick in. I don't know, I haven't looked at that computer in a while. But anyway, took it completely apart. I think I put some thermal paste in there and then put it all back together. And after I put it back together, the sound didn't work. I was like, well, that's really weird. But like maybe it's just something with the distro I was using. So I tried it with a different distro, also didn't work. Threw Windows on there, sound still didn't work. And so I said, well, I mean, there's got to be something going on. Put it on the back burner for a long while. And then finally decided, well, I kind of want to sell this thing, so I'm going to put it, take it apart. I can't remember if I put thermal paste in there or not, so I'm going to open it up and put thermal paste and then also say that I put thermal paste, like in permanent marker, so that I can remind myself. So I open it up, put all the thermal, well, as soon as I open it up, I realized I hadn't connected the sound back to the motherboard, and that's why it didn't have sound. So I went through all my process, connected it back up, connected the sound, and wouldn't you know it, sound started working. So, as somebody who's taken apart many laptops, it happens to the best of us. Usually we're able to fix it pretty quickly, but if you ever take your laptop to a shop and they have to do something really major to it and then something doesn't work, take it back and double check. Make them double check that they connected all the connections. So now that we have that new screw, I'm going to put that where it had, or where the missing one had been. Then we've got one more screw here. I'm going to put that in while I'm tightening. And okay, there we go. And then this one, final screw. Put our RAM back in there. Actually, it's better to do this one. And then this one for 8 gigs of RAM. We'll put our hard drive in there. It was missing a hard drive caddy when I got it, so I'm not too worried about that. These go here, and then this guy, there's some broken plastic here. So we'll see if there's anything we can do. Not really. That's embarrassing. Honestly, this thing's falling apart. It might be better to just keep it as like a desktop system. So it might be, I may take it apart and put it into a tower and just kind of jerry-rig it. Oh, there we go. Okay. This does almost literally nothing, but there it is. There it is. Also, I need a better mount so that I'm not hitting my tripod constantly. The last screw melon. Put that in there. Click that in place. Click this in place. And we did it. So normally I would power this on, so I would put it back mostly together without all of the screws. And then flip it over, power it on, make sure that I can tilt it from side to side without having the problem. In this case, I'm fairly certain that that's what the problem was, and so I'm not going to worry about that. If it does continue to rattle, then I will just take it apart another time. But that was this laptop.